I'm talking with Jillian Gearin today. She is the one of three minor league female voices for a minor league team. She is the voice of the Visalia Rawhide. Last year was her first year. And lo and behold, right out of the gate, what do the Rawhide do? They decide to go and win the Cal League Championship. So Jillian's got a bauble, a ring. I've seen the ring, and it's a rock. So it shows you've made it already, and that was your first year out. Welcome, Jillian.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell the people about you. You and I know you were a tomboy growing up, playing sports, and tell them where you went to school and how you got into this business.
Yeah, so originally from Hermosa Beach, California. That's actually where I am during this stay-at-home order. Lived here for 18 years, and when I graduated from high school, I went to Emerson College in downtown Boston and majored in journalism. While there, I played softball all 4 years, and that really kept my love of the game going. I've been playing since I was 6 years old. While at Emerson, I did a bunch of internships, and honestly, I really focused on softball for the most part, though, that took up a lot of my time. Um, and I'm lucky that I got the internships that I did, despite spending so much time playing softball, where I was able to continue my career. I think by junior, senior year, I kind of realized, oh shoot, you actually need to start focusing. You can't play softball your whole life. So um, I don't know. Those are the basic parts about me. In reality, if you ask my friends from high school, who I still see occasionally, um, I was the softball girl. I was always playing softball. If I wasn't on the field for practice or games, I was at hitting coaches, throwing a ball against a wall, or doing a lot of homework. So it's kind of always been my life: baseball or softball and work.
And Emerson College, for people who don't know, literally it's on Boylston Street in downtown Boston. And that's a great, Boston is one of the greatest cities in the world. And if you are lucky enough to get to go to school at Northeastern, Boston College, BU, where my buddy Doug Greenwald went, you are a lucky person, because there was so much history, not just American history, but sports history in Boston itself. I mean, the Boston Braves started there, the Celtics, the Red Sox, you name it. But Boston will always be a Red Sox town. I don't care what anybody says. That is
Yeah,
the team.
the best way to describe where Emerson is, if you've ever watched any of the championship parades, the sports championships parades, that where they turn that corner, that's where Emerson is, right there across from the Boston Commons, literally right where history has been made. And, Boston is it's a great city. It's one of the best sports towns in the country too. I know Pittsburgh fans and New York fans are rolling their eyes at that comment, but it is one of the best ones too. So
Well, my whole family, I'm the only one in my family born in California. My immediate family, everybody is from New England. My mom was born in Lowell. My brother was born in Brockton, but I have the deep New England roots. And I hope you soaked it all in when you were at Emerson.
I did. I wish I did a little bit more. I wish that I took the time to explore. Again, I'm I'm a little bit of a workaholic. I tend to do more work than play. So I wish that I had taken the time to go explore a little bit more. But I'd also had visited Boston every summer growing up. So I'd seen the city. I'd seen the big landmarks already. It was more of the non-touristy things that I didn't get to do. I didn't go to some bars that a lot of my friends said that I should have. But I mean, I still have family who live there, so I got time.
Yeah, we were back there in 2018, and I was back for 3 weeks, and I loved every second of it. And tell us about you interned with Joe Castiglione and the people with the only team that matters to me, the Red Sox.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. The internship was exclusive to Emerson students because Tim Neverett, who at the time was Joe Castiglione's partner, Tim's now with the Dodgers, he went to Emerson. I think he graduated in 88. He's going to kill me if that's the wrong year, but I'm pretty sure it was 88. And he wanted to give this opportunity to Emerson students, and it was myself and one other guy, Matt Kuchar, who's now working for MLB Network. We both interned. We split home games. For playoffs, we both were able to work. And what we did was we showed up at about 3 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, go into the clubhouse, gather sound for the radio, because it was the radio station that we worked for. gather sound from players. Sometimes I would interview them one-on-one just to work on my own craft. And then I would get my scorecard ready, get whatever notes ready that I thought was needed because there were game notes provided to us. So I would read through those, highlight them, kind of write down pre-write statistics. So let's say someone had a 5-game hit streak. Let's say it's Devers. Devers had a 5-game hit streak. I would prepare a note card that says Raffy 6-game streak. And so I'd already have that prepared. So as soon as he got a hit, I'd be able to hand that to Tim or Joe in case they didn't have it in their notes already. So I was basically their extra eyes and ears for fun tidbits or things like that. Sometimes Joe would have the most obscure statistic that he wanted me to look up, and I would have to try to figure that out quickly. After the game, if the Red Sox won, I would go down and talk to the PR people with the Sox and grab the player of the game for an interview. And then again, go into the clubhouse afterwards and gather audio and sound for the post game.
That is, I mean, for someone so young to be able to do that, you were living the dream. You were living the dream that everybody who wants to get behind a mic, that can't, would want to do. It's just that people don't understand when you're in the media, such as you are and I am to a point. It's a different world. People, you hear things, and there's a lot of things you hear you will not repeat, because of confidentiality. But it's just a fun time to be able to go onto a field or in a booth and do what you do, be able to talk baseball to people all over, Visalia in the Central Valley. Your voice is heard by hundreds of thousands of people listening to the Rawhide games, and I mean, you're living your dream, which everybody in this country wants to live their dream.
Yeah, it's cool. I was 21 when I first was in the booth with the Red Sox, and I turned 22 that summer. It was a lot of fun. I mean, when I was 13 years old, during my 8th grade graduation speech, I told everyone that I was going to be the play-by-play broadcaster for the Boston Red Sox, and less than 10 years later, I was in the booth working. So that's pretty cool.
That is awesome. And of course, Fenway Park, if people have not been to Fenway Park, even if you're not a baseball fan, just take the tour and go inside, and you will get chills. It is right now, since Yankee Stadium is gone, it is the cathedral for baseball. Sorry, Cubs fans, it's Fenway, because it's so iconic. And what John Henry has done with Fenway Park in revamping it is amazing. Because the first time I was there was in 1976, and to be honest with you, Fenway was a dump.
And it was John Henry, and Janet Marie Smith was actually the woman who's now working with the Dodgers. I believe she was brought over by Dr. Charles Steinberg, and she was kind of the brainchild. Like, she helped create Fenway, make it friendlier, but still keep that historic aspect, because they had to do a lot of these renovations before the 100th year anniversary, because that's when something becomes a historical landmark. So it was a little bit of a time crunch for them too.
Tell people what it's like standing on the Green Monster, looking down at the field.
It's so much closer than you would think. That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, these are great seats. Normally, I'm a snob. I don't want to sit in the outfield unless I'm trying to get that real experience or just have fun with my friends. But if I'm there to watch the game, I want to be close. I mean, I'm spoiled. I get a booth now. But when my dad and I first took that tour, I think I was 12 or 13. Maybe I was in high school, I think, actually. And my dad and my mom and we took the tour, and my dad and I sat in the front row on the Green Monster, and we looked at each other like, these are great seats. You're so close. You can see everything. And so I haven't been there for a game yet. I haven't been able to sit there for a game. So that's on my bucket list.
I sat there once in a rain delay. It was a day-night doubleheader. In the second game, I got a monster seat, and it was 50 degrees, raining, but I didn't care. It was, and we were all up there toasting. They found out I'm from California. They were buying me beers, and we were toasting the Red Sox. And well, I won't say what we were saying about the Yankees, but you get the drift.
Yeah,
It's an experience like no other, because, like you said, you're looking down, and back then, I mean, the left fielder is just right below you. You could literally look down and scream at him, and he'll hear you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's really cool. It's such a cool ballpark.
Tell us how you got the job with Visalia.
Yeah, so the Red Sox internship was really my saving grace, because, like I said, I was so focused on softball, and softball and baseball are in the same season. So I didn't really get to broadcast a lot in college. I did maybe 5 games, and that wasn't just baseball, that was basketball and other stuff like that. So um, the Red Sox internship really helped me because Tim Neverett, his brother BJ Neverett, was the manager of the Nashua Silver Knights, who are a part of a wooden bat summer collegiate league. And so I was able to broadcast maybe about 20 games there. Honestly, probably less, but it was enough where I was able to get a reel going and get some tape. And I interviewed Jackie Bradley Jr. one-on-one that I added to my reel. I also interned with the Pawtucket Red Sox that summer, so I was going from New Hampshire to Boston to Rhode Island throughout that summer. And I got a few mock games there where I would just sit in a booth by myself with a tape recorder practicing. And because of that reel, I had that to send out to places. And I heard that Visalia had an opening, and I found out that my friend Julian Rifkin, who's now one of our co-general managers at the Rawhide, he was working there on the ops side of baseball, and I knew him because he was a senior on the baseball team at Emerson when I was a freshman on the softball team. And I texted him, said, "Do you think you can put my name in the hat, put in the ring?" And he put me in touch with Jennifer Reynolds, who was the general manager at the time. And, she has done amazing things for the Rawhide, and she wanted to hire me. She wanted to hire a woman, honestly. And I think it just worked out perfectly where I was a good fit, because at the Rawhide, it's not just broadcasting that you do. And in reality, that's probably the second most important part of my job, at least in terms of what the front office need from me. But another cool connection that I have with the Rawhide is a family friend, Jeff Dahlgren. He's from this area in Hermosa Beach. We go to church together. He goes to Rawhide games a lot and knew Jennifer. And when my dad told him, oh yeah, she's going to apply there, he called Jen and said, listen, like, she's great. She comes from a good family. She's going to work hard. So it was just all these things working perfectly together where it was just so meant to be.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's, you're doing what you love to do, and you're right now you're in Hermosa Beach. For people who don't know, it's about, what, a 2.5 hour drive
Yeah.
from Hermosa Beach up to Visalia.
Mhm.
And Visalia is the gateway to Sequoia National Park. And they've done a lot with the ballpark in Visalia, too. I mean, I was there in the 80s, and it was nothing like it is now.
Yeah.
Except for one small aspect, and you and I have talked about this. Your broadcast booth is not the best. Let's
Not
just put it
that's
that way.
It's going to be the last thing that ever gets renovated because it doesn't bring in that much revenue. So I get it. It's fine. I'm 23. I can sweat a little bit. It's not a big deal. The big deal is when my computer starts to overheat, and that's where all of my broadcasting comes out of. So that's when I start to freak out a little bit, where there's times where I won't play any ads in between innings. I'll turn off my mic, have the sound, the crowd mic going, and then just hold a fan on my computer, just like this. So it's
For those
fun.
of you who don't know, that closet in back of
Yeah.
Jillian, that's about as big as her broadcast booth, and I'm not kidding you. It is
Mhm.
tight, and Visalia gets a tad warm in the summertime. Game time temperatures start at 100, 105 degrees, and yeah, it's a sauna, as she and I have talked. But
Yeah.
you've got to start somewhere. You're learning your craft, and you're doing what you love. I mean, how many people would give their eye teeth to do what you do?
Yeah.
Or what I do, or what Christopher Gabriel, our buddy at ESPN Fresno, does. It's we get to talk sports, and we get to hang out in ballparks and arenas, and for us, sports geeks like us, there's nothing better.
Right. And it's so cool what I do. Like, are you kidding me? It's so cool. I get to talk to ball players, and the thing is, these ball players are in the same mindset as me. They want to make it to the bigs. They're working hard, they're developing their craft, they're working on certain things, they're asking people for help, like their hitting coaches, pitching coaches. I'm asking for other broadcasters advice to get better. We're in the same boat. So we can really relate with each other and lean on each other a little bit. And then because of that comfort level, I get really good stories from them. I get to tell like funny stories. I get to tell a story of how they become engaged over the off season, how they got married, how Eduardo Diaz, who's from Venezuela, his son was born in July, and he didn't get to see his son, his first child, until after season. It's stories like that that make it so much fun. And obviously, I played softball, and I just love the game too.
Yeah, when you played softball, you were like most athletes in college. They know they're not going to make the pros. They get it. They play for the love of the game, and that's a lot like in the minors too. These guys are striving to get to the majors, but a lot of them know in the back of their mind it's not going to happen. But they're going to take it as far as they can, and they enjoy every minute of it.
Mhm.
I know, as you know, everybody complains about the bus rides, the crappy hotels, the meals at 1 o'clock in the morning in San Jose or something when you're pulling in after to go to a different city. But it's all worth it. The complaints are few and far between. But doing something like you do, you'll take those complaints.
Right. And well, here's the thing is I this past season when I did travel, I paid for it myself. It wasn't a part of my deal that I would go on road games. It was whenever the office was closed and I had an off day. Again, I want to get better, and the way to get better is to have more reps. So I would drive myself 4 hours, pay for a hotel, or crash on the other broadcaster's couch, something like that, and go from there. So that's the thing is when I would love bus rides are so much better than driving yourself. So you get it's because driving yourself it's a waste of 4 hours. I could get my game notes done. I could sleep, but um yeah. So I don't complain about those. I'll complain about like uncomfortable beds and like stuff like that, but not bus rides. Those are awesome.
Tell us what you're okay. Let's say you've got a game tonight against Stockton.
Okay.
Uh, Take us through what you're going to be doing. What's your day like? How would you start out, and what would you do to gear
Yeah.
up for the game?
So I would have already been at the ballpark. It's 11:30. I would have been at the ballpark for at least 3 hours by now. Usually the first thing that I do is go in and I start making my game notes because that is what takes the most amount of time. I have to update. Everyone's game notes are different, and I kind of just took the same one that my predecessor used, Vinny Longo. I just used his format. And so you update what they did last game, you update what their batting average, like what, 2 for 6 or something in the series, a 2 RBI, you put that in, and then you put their season, and you have to update every single player who played, plus pitchers, and sometimes 4 to 5 pitchers are used in a game. And then let's say you get a new player. Okay, well, I need to add facts about him, things like that. So you 3 to 4 bullet points, things like that. The front page you need to edit into the summary from yesterday's game. What does this game mean? Looking ahead to next series. It takes about 2 to 3 hours, depending how distracted I get, to really finish them. And then I need to make about 25 copies. And so I like to start doing the copies before everyone gets into the office because they hate when I take over the printing machine. But after the game notes, then I'll print out the stat packs, which are pre-made for me already through a website that MLB gives us access to. I just have to order them in the way that I like. And then once all those are printed, I give them to our coaching staff, the visiting coaching staff. I have them in the booth for any media personnel that come in, visiting broadcasters, things like that. At about 2 or 3 o'clock, depending on how early the boys decide to start stretching, they'll usually be out on the field by then. So I'm in the booth by 2 or 3 o'clock. Playing music, I play the music for them off of my computer, so I need to be up there for them. Otherwise, they'll get angry without music. And then at that point, I usually try to be on the field whenever they are, just so I can kind of be around, hear funny stories. And it's a nice break. I've been at the ballpark since 8 a.m. I deserve to get to just hang out on the field at 3. Other things that I do, because that's just the broadcasting part, is I schedule stuff for social media. I'm sending out e-blasts, commenting on social media, anything else. If there's, ABC 30s coming into the stadium that day, I need to make sure that they have everything that they need. Let's say you're coming in. I need to make sure that I have a press pass for you, see if like you need anything, things like that. Those are the main things that happen during the season. And then BP I'm there for. I'll interview Sean or another player at some point, usually around like 4. And then by 6 o'clock, it's like go time. I need to have my book ready, all my stats ready, make sure I have my script out for live reads, things like that. See if the PA guy needs anything, and then 6:50 I try to start my pregame. What's nice for me is I don't have a radio station that I'm on, so it's not a hard in, hard out. So I can kind of start whenever I need to if I'm running late, but I'm kind of all over the place. Again, I haven't done this in a very long time. I haven't had a game day in a while. Um, so game happens. I broadcast for 3.5 hours. I'm still like tweeting stuff during games, and I'm responding to stuff on social media too during games. Um, when the game's over, I, wrap up, do my post game recap, shout out to all the sponsors that need to happen, things like that. And then I run down into the office, get the box score from the official score, take them into, I start with the home clubhouse first, hand them to the home manager, and then I go to the visiting manager, see if they have any issues with any scoring plays because we want to get it right. And so they'll tell me, I think that was a hit or I think that was an error. I'll go to the other manager, see what they think. If there is a disagreement, then I go to the official scorekeeper. But if they agree on it, the official scorekeeper is usually fine with that. So after that's done, then I go and write the post game recap, post it on social media, the website, sends it out to the press, and then schedule out any other social media that I need to real quick. So it's usually an 8 a.m. to midnight day, usually. So it's not bad. It could be worse.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to once the game is over, you need a little time downtime. You need to go grab a beer or when it's hot, jump in the shower and cool
Yeah.
down and you just can't go home and go right to sleep. You're still got that keyed up attitude. So
Yeah,
I know
usually.
during the season, sleep is a precious commodity for somebody like you or people in the business or even the ball players because they're
Yeah.
they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, the ball players definitely probably go to bed at like 1 or 2 a.m., but they also don't have to be at the ballpark till 2 p.m. For me, like you said, yeah, sometimes I'll write the post game recap at home because I need to shower. I've been sweating for 8 hours in 100-degree weather. So I'll go shower and then just write it at my kitchen table or something and then finish up by then. So if that happens, I'm probably like averaging going to bed by 1 a.m. If it's later than that, it's because there's stuff that happened after the game or there was extra innings. So
Yeah, there's no truth to the rumor that they're going to put a little cot in your broadcast booth so you can just sack out there for the next game. Is there?
no, I mean if I lived as far as some of these people did because I know one of our coworkers, she lives in Fresno. And
Wow.
when we have a night game and there's even an 11 a.m. game the next day, sometimes for our school days, I'm not doing that. I will be sleep. There's couches in the office. I'll sleep
Yes.
on the couches for sure. Um, but I live so close. I'm a 5-minute drive from the ballpark that it's fine for me to go home.
Yeah, it's people think I know a lot of people think, oh, you just go in, you talk about the game and you leave, and it obviously like you've described that is bet you are so off. I mean, all of these guys. I grew up with Vin Scully, who is God in the broadcast world. He's the best, bar none. I tell people there's only two gods I believe in. One is John Bonham, the drummer for Led Zeppelin. There was nobody better, and most people will agree. And then there's Vin, and you cannot top Vin. He
Right.
the man is a master storyteller and he knows when to shut up when he was on the air. As he said when Sandy Koufax threw the his perfect game and when Gibby hit the home run in the World Series, he said, "I want to let the crowd tell the story. I didn't have to. I shut up. I didn't have to talk."
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so many of these announcers today, they think they have to get in 85,000 words to describe one thing, or they scream and yell above everything. And you don't do that. I've seen you and listened to you and I've watched you. You're very low key. You do get excited when something is going on, but you're not a screamer and yeller, in which I know a lot of people really appreciate.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, my style's definitely more laid back. It's just it's baseball. I'm talking about baseball. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm having fun. I probably mess up my words at least 20 times, and I'd probably make fun of myself at least 10 times. It's just it's what my style is. And it matches my personality. My voice, like my broadcasting voice, like is slightly more um broadcasty. For those of you who are broadcasters listening, you'll understand what I mean. Like it's slightly more broadcasty than what it is right now, but I don't change my voice that much. It's me talking, and it's nice for me because a lot of the people who are listening are either the diehard Rawhide fans that I've met, my friends or family, or the players' friends and families, and I meet a lot of the players' families. So it's normal for me to just talk to these people.
Jillian is like a big sister to a lot of these guys on the team. They've accepted her. They love her for who she is, and they confide in her, which that's half the battle right there. I was talking to a friend of mine about this very thing, and I told him, I said, first of all, you have to have a thick skin if you're going to be working in sports because you're going to hear stuff. And I told him, I said, if the players or the managers or the front office staff, if they start needling you and including you in, you're in. Because as we know, a lot of them don't trust the media, and you have to gain their confidence, and you don't want to screw that up down the road by saying something bad about pitcher X or second baseman Y. You want to keep everything positive, and any negativities you kind of keep away and just to yourself. You don't want that to get out.
Yeah, it's tough when, and it's not just broadcasters, it's people where covering the Red Sox is their beat or something like that. That's their beat, and they're there every single day. And when a player messes up, you have to say it. You have to say
Right.
that's an error. You have to say this is what they should have done, but you don't need to harp on them. I know some people do, but I think it's because I've played and I would not want someone doing that to me. But I haven't had any run-ins where the players were upset with what I've said, um, or anything like that. I also know that player development people with the Diamondbacks listen, so you want to be careful with what you say with that kind of
Exactly.
stuff. But yeah, I mean, and as far as getting trust from the players, they know that I just want to tell funny stories. I just want to talk about them, and they've been very good with me. And it's interesting. I didn't realize how I did it until I believe it was either NBC or CBS Fresno. They were doing a story on me. It was a girl power segment, and they interviewed some of the players and our manager Sean Roof. And this was the first station that decided to interview the players and the coaches about what it was like working with a woman, which is a cool part of the story. And Sean and I, being the media relations manager on top of the broadcaster, I had to be there for the interviews to make sure they don't say something stupid and just be like aware of that stuff. And Sean said, Jill kind of just came in and did her thing. She was just there. She didn't really like pipe in too much. She like didn't come in saying, I'm Jill, I need you this, I need you to do this for me. You just kind of came in and she did her thing is kind of what he told them. And that eventually she'd start kind of like poking fun at the players. They'd poke fun at her. And then it was like she was just a part of the team at that point. And I think I really appreciated listening to that because I didn't know what their opinion was of me. I figured they liked me, but no one says that. So it was cool. It was nice to hear that what I did worked, even though I had no idea what I was doing.
Sean Roof is a great guy, and if the last name sounds familiar, his uncle is Phil Roof, who was a catcher for the Minnesota Twins. And I told Sean this, and Sean and I have talked many times. We still email back and forth. I learned to catch with a model that his uncle used, the catcher's mitt, the round old closed hinge glove. You learn to catch two-handed, to develop your soft hands. And you were a first baseman. You developed soft hands playing first base, digging balls out of the dirt, da 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 da. And and we sat in the dugout before a game when I was there last July, and we probably talked for 30 minutes about baseball. And you gain their confidence, and they'll tell you stuff in confidence, and you're not going to repeat it. But for the most part, being on the field, you hear some pretty funny stories. And I've
Yeah.
been on major league fields, and I've heard stories, and you just have to shake your head and laugh because some of them are really, really out there.
Yeah, definitely are. I like I can't even think of like stories to tell you. I mean, it's more of just absurd things that have happened on the field, and you're like, how? How has that happened? Gosh, I wish I could give you an example.
Give us an example of when you were playing softball at Emerson, something that happened that's kind of like a story, whether you were on the bench or playing a game. Do you have any of those? That actually it turned out to be pretty funny, even though at the time it was like, oh crap.
Yes. Okay, so I think it was freshman year, and my friend Casey, I was actually just zooming with her and my friend Molly. They were both on the team. We were zooming yesterday, and Casey was a pitcher and I was at first. And Casey, the final out was a ground ball to her, and she got it and then underhand flipped it to me at first base, and we got the out. And it was a big win for us. We were struggling our freshman year. We had just moved up conferences 2 years ago, so it was a learning curve for our team. And she comes in, and you give high fives with the gloves. And so she comes in like running at me hard, giving me a high five with her glove, and my glove is here. And I have the ball in my glove, and so she gives me a high five with her glove so hard that I wasn't expecting it, that the glove with the ball came back and hit me in the head. And only one other person saw it. It was Caroline Fortuna, our second baseman. And she's just sitting there like, what just happened? And we had to go get ready to slap hands, like high five, good game, that kind of thing. And I'm just dying laughing. Casey and I are dying laughing from that. So it's just stuff like that where it's the most dumb story. It shouldn't matter, but it's so much fun. It's those things that Casey and I will talk about. Like, Casey, remember when you hit me with your glove after a game? And then she'll just start laughing. It's those that if you don't play on a competitive team like that, you just don't get it.
Yeah, they don't get it. You're absolutely right. And playing first base, you get bruises where you don't think you're going to get bruises. I mean, it's like, how the hell did I get a bruise on the back of my arm?
I found a bruise on my arm today. Yeah, I have a bruise right here. I don't know what from.
One of the dogs?
Probably. Who knows?
Yeah, it's the old adage is if you're a catcher or an infielder, the ball is going to find you, and you're going to get bruises in places you didn't think you were going to get bruises because playing with a hard softball or the baseball, that damn thing hurts when it hits you if you don't have a glove. If it hits you, it hurts.
I had a nasty habit when I was 15 of pulling my glove up too soon on ground balls. Oh. So my high school coach used to ask me right or left, and he meant which ankle did I want to have bruised today, and he would hit it to that side of my body. And then every time it would happen, and it was like a week or two before winter formal, and I was like, Dan, I'm wearing like a short dress to the dance. Like, you can't give me any bruises. It's not allowed. And, of course his response was just field the ball properly then. But that sounded like a lot of work.
Well, and the problem is too, I don't know what the field was like at Emerson, but some of the high school fields I played on, it was like landmines everywhere, rocks. And you just, you develop, a style of how to, soft, have soft hands catching the ball. But still, they weren't like some of the infields, especially the minor leagues now. When I first started watching minor league baseball, the fields were in not the best shape, but now they've got great groundskeepers. You guys have a great groundskeeper.
Yeah, James is awesome.
Yeah, they and I've talked to him at the ballpark. That's his baby. He doesn't want the catcher or the first baseman or your third baseman coming bitching at him that, hey man, the infield dirt is not good. I mean, I'm getting too many bad hops here. He wants that thing as perfect as he can get. He wants it like a major league field. Yeah. And that's awesome.
Good. He's one of the best. James Templeton is our head groundskeeper, and that's, like you said, it's his baby, and he has it down to a science. He knows exactly what he's doing because it's difficult to have the lips perfectly on the infield grass, on the outfield grass, and it's hot in Visalia with the sun beating down on that clay, that mixture, 110 degrees, 115 degrees. He waters it multiple times a day, and it's never too wet because sometimes you can flood a field when you water it too much. So James is the man. He's great.
Yeah, she is right about the temperatures. If you people haven't been to Central California in the summertime, yeah, don't bring a coat. Shorts, flip flops, and a t-shirt is about the wear you're going to want because it does get hot. And luckily, they do sell some nice cold beverages in the stadium club there. So, and the stadium club is air conditioned and things like that. Jillian, is there anything else you would like to tell everybody? Because this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of it. There's not really much else to say about me other than I played softball growing up. I loved the game, and I was lucky enough and fortunate enough that my hard work worked out for me, and that all these things, everything meshing together perfectly for me to get this job at the Rawhide, and hopefully this upcoming season I'll be able to travel with the team and everything. That's the goal right now since we have new ownership. So I'm excited, and hopefully more girls will be coming into the minor league booth soon. I know right now there's three of us. Melanie Newman is now with the Baltimore Orioles, so she's going to be doing some play-by-play in the booth and also sideline reporting, and she's awesome, so I'm excited for her. And I believe there's one girl, Laura Hoover, who's now with an independent team, the Railcats. So we got more girls coming, and it's a lot of fun, but hopefully more women come into the sport.
How does it feel to be a pioneer? And you are a pioneer in the
Yeah.
minor leagues at a young age. Does that make you feel any, like, wow, I'm really doing something cool here?
Sometimes when I get down on myself, I have to remember how few people have my job and how many want it. So I have to kind of remind myself about that. In terms of being a pioneer, it genuinely makes me feel uncomfortable because, like, I just want to talk about baseball. I just want to be around the game, and I'm lucky enough that I am able to do that. I think what I just try to embrace is that I'm someone that, not that a little girl can look up to exactly, but they can see me doing it and they think, oh, I can do that. Because that's what it is. It's representation. It's whether you're a little girl or you're Black, Latino, like Asian, anything, any background. If you don't have someone that looks like you doing something, you don't automatically think it. A lot of girls
Yep.
automatically think sideline because that's the more traditional route, which is sidelining is really hard. Like, I've done it, it's difficult. And not taking away from what they're doing, I just want girls to know that they can do it too. I'm doing it, so why not you? And I've tried to embrace that, especially in Visalia. It's not exactly a small town because there's about 100,000 people. It's just very spread out. It's an agricultural community. And, I've talked to schools, I've talked to Girl Scouts, I'm coaching a Little League softball team, just trying to make sure that they have, I guess, mentors that they can go to if they want to, just kind of letting them know that they can do this.
That's exactly right. And Heidi Watney, who was started out with the Red Sox as a sideline reporter. She's now with the MLB Network. Of course, she's married and has a kid now. But I mean, she did it. The reason I'm singling Heidi out is she's very good at what she does. She doesn't make it about her. She makes it about what she's talking about. And she, a lot like you remind me a lot of Heidi. You guys know what you're talking about, and that shows when you're talking to Sean, or you're talking to the opposing manager, or you're talking on Christopher's radio show. You have that. What you're talking about. It's not just, oh, look at me, I'm doing what I'm doing. You're actually talking about being a female broadcaster, broadcasting the game, and you're getting your point across. It's not so much you're a role model. It's more that you're a mentor to these younger people, and it's I think it's kind of cool that
Yeah.
you have embraced that, and that you do everything that you do outside of just doing the Rawhide games. Coaching softball, talking to the schools, talking to girls, talking to the Girl Scouts, and things like that. That's hats off to you.
Yeah, thank you. And one other thing is, you said, I know what I'm talking about, but I also know what I don't know. I played softball. I don't pick up pitches well for baseball. It's hard for me to recognize a sinker. Curve I have down, that's pretty easy, but a sinker or a screw or something. So, like, two seam, four seam, change up, I
Yeah.
don't know. If you ask me to call a softball pitch, I can do that in my sleep. But so what I've done is I go and watch the guys throw in the bullpen before games, and I pick up what they're doing, and I try to learn from our pitching coach. And I'm still learning. I'm 23. I'm the same age as these guys that are still learning. So that's another thing too, is I think I'm able to still learn, and I know that I need to still learn.
Are you trying to pick up the pitch as it's coming out of his hand, how he's releasing it, like a curveball
It's
or a
it's
screwball or a
I
forkball?
can't see that well, like, I can't tell that way, especially that fast, but, like, that's too difficult. People who can do that have amazing eyesight, and I just don't have that, I can't see that. But it's more just the way that the pitch moves and stuff, or,
Exactly.
because broadcasters will be like, "Well, that was I don't even know." They'll say a curve or a two-seam or something, like, how? I think they make it up. I
A
genuinely think
lot.
broadcasters
Yes.
make it up. Like I'm gonna, instead of calling pitches, I'm just gonna say if it was like inside, high, whatever. I think I'm gonna start doing that instead and see if that sounds better. So we'll experiment this year.
The one thing that I was talking to Don Orsillo, and I asked him that very question. This was years ago, and he said a lot of them say, you know, when it's a curveball or a slider, a breaking pitch. So it kind of covers all the bases, you know.
Yeah.
And you can tell a heater from. I mean, you can hear this. I grew up watching Nolan Ryan. I could close my eyes. You didn't have to. You heard the ball.
Mhm.
That hiss that I've only heard from one pitcher, and that was him.
Yeah.
But usually, you know, having played the game, I can tell by the rotation or the angle of the pitch. But you're getting it. You
Yeah,
know
and
it.
you learn what pitches certain
Yeah,
guys have. For example, one of our
yeah.
guys, Mac Lemieux, he has a curveball, fastball, changeup. Those are his main three. I think definitely a curveball. So, you know, it's just getting to know that stuff. And again, last year I was just trying to get my feet settled underneath me, be able to breathe at some point. I think I finally was able to take a breath in July. Um, and you know, this year is kind of where I'm looking forward to really honing my craft.
That's great. We've been talking with Jillian Gearin, the broadcast voice of the Visalia Rawhide. Jillian, thank you so much. I know, hopefully, we have baseball this year, but I know you and I are we'll see each other down the road sometime. You've already sent me my media pass for this year, and I appreciate that. It was great talking to you. And if once the season starts, or if we get into it, let's do this again.
Definitely. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.